welcome everybody back to Zeta Global Radio. Happy Sunday. I am your host, Lainey Savante Wilkin, and we are here with part 2 with the wonderful spiritual coach in Patti Wilson. If you did not listen to our first show of the year last week, please go back and check out the 3-Mind Theory of Consciousness. And just as a little recap on who Patti Wilson is and why she's here for part 2, talking about, of course, the inner child, let me give you a little bit of her background. She is an intuitive counselor, psychic medium, and theta healing practitioner. And Patti has worked as a psychotherapist for over 25 years and has taught at both college and university levels. And now she combines her traditional experience with her powerful spiritual gifts to offer a unique and rapid healing and change process. And she specializes in emotional imbalance, such as stress, anxiety, depression, anger, and grief, as well as health, career, relationships, and financial issues. All of those, I'm sure, have affected one of us. She has clients worldwide, working primarily through phone sessions. So we are so thrilled to have her back. So welcome to ZGR again, Patti. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yes. So last week was a very powerful week. And of course, we had touched on that we'd be doing part 2 of the inner child. And I find it interesting in my work, and I don't know if this happens to you, but I found that this week with my intuitive wisdom clients, it seemed that the heart of the matter with all of them all related to the inner child. And I said, well, it just so happens we have Patti Wilson this week talking about it. So life does represent life, and it feels like when things are in the field, they're in the field for everybody. Is that ever happened to you?
Well, yes, absolutely. But I do think the inner child is such an important part of who we are. And if we're not conscious or aware of that aspect of ourselves, it makes change and personal growth and spiritual growth very difficult. It keeps us stuck. So it's an essential way to start looking at yourself when you're looking at the path that you're on and where you want to go in your life and changes that you want to make. If you ignore this part of yourself, you're ignoring a part of yourself that creates real barriers.
And why is it that this so impactful essence of ourselves, and I know we'll get into it today on what is the inner child, how to work with it as an adult, but how come it isn't talked about ever, or is it only in the psychology world, or why isn't it more prevalent in people knowing, oh, that's an inner child thing? You know, it just seems like it takes a real awakened journey for people to start to understand how essential this is.
Well, I think, as I said last week, our culture, our society generally, is very focused on the rational mind, that part of our mind where we think and create, and we're logical, and we're analytical, and we plan, and we execute. And I mean, it's pretty powerful stuff, you know, and I'm very grateful that I have that part of my brain working.
Of course, yep.
But we don't often acknowledge, and we don't acknowledge emotions a whole lot. Let me just say that, too, as a culture. Even as when I was doing psychotherapy, it wasn't common for people to want to talk about their feelings. They wanted to problem solve and do cognitive therapy and focus on behaviors. And that's much more the focus that we see in psychology over the last few decades. So there isn't really in our culture a big focus on the value of emotions.
So it's really about feelings, right?
We know we have them. Every once in a while they flare up. We get triggered. So we know we're emotional beings, but we're kind of not really taught what to do with that, or even the impact that it really has on us. And we kind of push those feelings away, or have a good cry, as we were always taught in my family, or whatever, and deal with those emotions, get them out of the way, and then we go back to our rational kind of plan and our thinking and our doing and all that. So it's not something that we're really taught about, but it is a really important part of or an aspect of our consciousness, that by becoming aware of this inner child, you can then ward off the pitfalls, the barriers, the things that go on in your life that create the patterns and the problems and those things. I mean, I think we've all had that experience of just feeling so sick and tired of ourselves sometimes. We're so sick and tired that we keep repeating the same dumb mistakes, or we keep getting stuck. We can't seem to get past something. We can't seem to make that change. And something keeps getting in our way, and we know it's ourselves. Well, it's your inner child that's getting in your way.
So let's just give like that quick brief, that's your inner child because it's the first thing that happens, so maybe just explain that real quickly and then we'll feel caught up.
What I was talking about when I was talking about the three minds that make up our consciousness, the three minds are the emotional mind, which is the part of your brain that it's a mammalian part of the brain that all mammals have. And when we are preschoolers, for those first 5 or 6 years of life, that's the only really functioning part of our brain in terms of our thinking. So we don't have that higher brain that I call the rational mind that begins to develop at school age up until about our mid-20s. It isn't functioning until we start off to school around age 6. So the third part of our 3 parts, the third part, we talked about the snowman, the head of the snowman, the top part, is the spiritual mind. And the spiritual mind is our true essence, our soul, our spirit, however, our higher self, however you think of it and want to label it. And this is with us always. And yet again, we're not often in this culture taught that we're spiritual beings having a human material life. So that part of us often is alive and well, I think, in very young children. And then it kind of fades because we mirror back to them that it doesn't really exist. And then if you're lucky, it may come out later in life if you develop your spirituality and follow a spiritual path and practice ways of developing that part of your mind. So those are the 3 parts of the mind that I was speaking about, and I welcome you to go back and listen to last week. Is that little kid, that little inner 5-year-old.
Well, the inner 5-year-old is it a consciousness that is already predetermined before we come in? I mean, is it already in the soul blueprint and it's from before birth, or it comes in when it comes into human form?
I certainly believe that our soul chooses, predetermines experiences that we're going to have, and I do believe that our parents are part of our soul family who have agreed to create certain situations and challenges for us, so that when we're all here on Earth plane having human lives together, most of us aren't conscious of that. We don't remember that. But I do believe that, yes, this has been predetermined, and that our souls have decided that. We have free will. But so we on that level do choose situations that we're going to experience, because those situations and circumstances of the first 5 years of our life are critical in forming our core beliefs and our thinking, our attitudes, our emotional mindset. All of that really comes from those first 5 years. And because we're mammals, and because the mammalian brain is all about survival, really, I mean, look at any mammal out in the wild, and their job is really to survive. And that part of our brain is also responsible for survival. So what that means is, how do I make it in the world? And the world, when you're little, is just what's going on under your roof. It's your family. So how do I make it? How do I belong? How do I fit in? How do I find my place in this family? And in figuring that out, we're essentially creating the blueprint for figuring out how we're going to behave and belong and make our way in the world. And all of that is figured out by this little mammalian brain that's very black and white, not very smart, and yet in many ways very, very intelligent in that we're able to figure out how to survive. We do develop our basic personalities. Think of a kindergarten kid. That child has his or her personality set, and yet the rational mind, the one that we all depend on, that we think defines us, hasn't even started to form yet.
So this time period, this first 5 years, are we setting up statements in belief systems like I am this, I am scared, I am safe, I am loved? Are we setting up these belief patterns so they're either positive or negative, and that's what sort of ends up being the underlying factor for the rest of our lives? Is that how that is so important?
Absolutely. The formula that I like to use in terms of understanding how we develop personality and thus how we develop our core beliefs is we complete, or we find a way to complete the phrases I am ... others are ... and therefore in order to make it in the world I need to ... So it could be others are hostile, I'm scared, and therefore I need to hide and avoid. That would be a basic very simple, but a basic way of looking at personality, how someone would see the world and respond to it and figure out how to fit in and survive.
Beautiful. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We are new to our new 30-minute formatted show, so we have eliminated the 1 hour because all of you out there are so busy. So we are now in our 30-minute format. So we're going to take a quick break here with Patti Wilson. When we come back, we're going to learn more about the inner child and now as adults, how to work in synergy and learn more about how it's affecting you and what you can do to be in harmony in the way you live your life. You're listening to Lainey and Patti here on Zeta Global Radio. We will be back in just a moment. Zeta Global Radio is a proud sponsor of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce of Southwest Florida's monthly community education outreach series. Join an esteemed member-based panel on a variety of topics, including February's upcoming Health and Fitness panel at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral and at the Unity Church of Bonita Springs. Learn from our 4 panelists 4 different perspectives and possibilities for living stronger and staying limber and healthier much longer. Only $5 to attend. Learn from these experts on how you can be a better you, mind, body, and soul. For more information, please visit any of the Facebook pages, which are HCC Cape Coral, HCC Fort Myers, or HCC Naples for event information. We look forward to seeing you there. Additionally sponsored by Natural Awakenings Magazine and Muscle Tuners International. Ready to see what's in the cards for you? It's a new year and new goals are being set. Yet what is the roadmap to get them met, realized, and brought to fruition? Hi, it's Lainey Savante Wolkin here, and when I'm not hosting ZGR, I'm working with clients worldwide to bring better harmony, clarity, and purpose. I show you a mirror of what your soul already knows but is waiting to bring forward for healing, transformation, and truly a jump on the next phase of your life. I'm a certified 5th tarot reader, certified theta healer, and I come from a very long lineage of intuitives in my family. My new readers and healing studio is located in downtown Cape Coral, Florida, yet I work with people worldwide doing phone and online Zoom readings. Wherever you are, I could support you. When you are called to the cards, let me support you further with a very insightful look at what fabulous events life has in store for you. After all, the cards don't lie. So let's see what magic is waiting for you. To book a session today, please visit my Intuitive Wisdom Facebook page for more info. Intuitive is spelled I-N, the number 2, U-I-T-I-V-E, the word wisdom. Intuitive Wisdom on Facebook. Thanks so much. I look forward to reading for you soon. Holistic Radiance Day Spa, formerly Trice Massage Therapy and Skincare, welcomes you to their new location in the heart of downtown Cape Coral, Florida. Specializing in massage therapy, including deep tissue, Swedish, trigger point, and lymphatic drainage, to facials of all kinds, incorporating avant-garde technologies for every skin type. All of their skin and nail care products and services are natural and support the optimum in self-care wellness. Be part of their special Holistic Radiance Day Spa membership club, filled with special offers, discounts, and member-only services. Right now, ZGR listeners has a special offer for you. Enjoy a buy one month, get the next one free by visiting their website at holisticradiancefl.com or their Facebook page at Holistic Radiance Day Spa. It's time to be conscious and caring about your own personal wellness. Visit Holistic Radiance Day Spa today for a pampered treatment and to truly become the radiant being your body has been waiting for. Okay, we are talking about the inner child. Welcome back to Zeta Global Radio. We are in relationship with the inner child, if you didn't know that. I think you're now learning from Patti Wilson that is impactful, essential, and really one of the keys to the mystery box of you, right? Wouldn't you say that cannot be overlooked when you're looking at the overall behavioral patterns or energies you want to shift or things you want to manifest? We got to kind of go back to the basis of why we do things, why do things trigger us. So let's talk more now about, as an adult, how to have a harmonious relationship with our inner child.
We want to develop a relationship with this inner child, and often we're not even aware of him or her. So it begins by I like to take a photo of myself when I'm 5 years old or so and just sit and look into her eyes and realize that part of my existing consciousness is that child. She's very much still alive and well inside of me and very much trying to run my life, because that really, they do run our lives, very much creating the rules that I have to live by. So that when I get triggered or upset by something, it's not the me that's chatting with you right now, the adult part. It's this inner child who will take over and react. And I want to get to know her so that I can work with her and let her know that she's not alone anymore. She's got an adult with her. She's got Big Patty now with her.
And how do you do that when you say get to know her? Like, how do you get to know your inner child?
One of the best ways that I know of is to simply write out some early memories in real detail. Just let yourself do some journaling. And most of us have not hundreds of early memories, but it's pretty easy to pull up 10 or 12 and write them out in detail as a story, a narrative. And then look at it and know this is how your inner child sees the world. This is really who he or she is. It's quite fascinating if you take the time to do that you'll actually see your beliefs in that narrative, in that story. And by the time you've got 10 or 12 of them, they start repeating. And you get that, boy, out of the millions of memories that I could have in my first 5 years, isn't it interesting that out of these 10, 3 of them are almost identical? They're all stories about being scared and hiding. Isn't that interesting? And you begin to see, that must be the rules for survival that little Patty has, that, when things get tough, I go into hiding. Yeah.
I run. Some people go into hiding. I guess running's one way of hiding, right? You just want to move on. So I was thinking about that, like, I wonder what happened, where I'm just like, I want to run and just say, I'm out.
It actually worked for you when you were little. Like, imagine that you're 2, 3, 4, 5, and you actually figure out something that works. When I talk to people's inner child, when I'm doing coaching with them, I always tell the inner child, I always say, good for you. I'm really proud of you. You figured out how to make it work, how to stay safe. Like, that was brilliant. I always let them know that I'm impressed. I'm proud of them. And then I suggest to them, there's also this other part that with you now, this adult part that's there with you in the same body with this person that I'm talking to. Would you be willing to hear what she has to say? Would you be willing to maybe turn the reins of control over to her sometimes? Would you be willing to consider that maybe you don't have to run? And it's that kind of a conversation that I develop with the inner child that enables her to let down that defensiveness and that reactivity that allows change to happen.
For someone who can't recall, who doesn't have the best memory, is it easy to remember the first 5 years? Because I don't, I hear all the time, how can I even remember those first formative years?
I've never met anybody that can't cough up at least half a dozen. So, yeah.
Okay.
Again, do it as a kind of a journaling exercise where you're not pressured, and let yourself reflect, look at a photo. You'd be surprised what comes up.
Can you share, because I think what you were just starting to state in an example of how you do it, or some other stories or success stories even of what was going on with somebody, and you were able to determine it was due to their inner child, and as a result, coming into harmony or a balance or cooperation or in relationship, whatever, I'm not sure your phrasing is, change somebody's, adult persona. Is there a way to share maybe a couple ideas?
Sure. I recently, and I will say that when I share case studies or stories, they're always amalgamations of different people, so that confidentiality is always practiced here. So I'm going to share the story about a person who I call the loner, who she was an indigo adult, very gifted, spiritually, very intuitive, very creative, very bright, lovely woman. Her core belief was, I'm different, no one gets me, no one supports me. So these were her beliefs. And she also then saw that others undermined her, and others were bad. Didn't like others, right? Because they didn't get her. So they were bad. And therefore, her way of surviving was to be a loner. I'm going to work alone. I'm going to do things alone. That way nobody will mess it up or make fun of me. So as a result, what she did in life was she pushed people away. She had a real chip on her shoulder, and she really didn't have a lot of people in her life. She was literally alone and isolated. Didn't have a lot of friends, didn't have a love relationship, wasn't very happy, came to see me because of that, wanting a partner, wanting to find her soulmate. And ultimately, we were able to talk to that inner child and get her to understand that there could be some safe people. There could be some people like her. There could be some other people who are creative and intuitive and unique and kind of quirky. And wouldn't it be nice to bring some of those people, attract those people into her life and have a friend, maybe a tribe, a group of friends, maybe a partner eventually. So that was what we did. The inner child had to literally give up control. It's interesting because I had to talk to that inner child and say, can you please allow us to bring in some new energy? And this is doing theta healing. Bring in energy that will allow this person to clear out these beliefs because they're not working as well as maybe some others might. So we don't want to be a loner anymore. Can we clear out these beliefs about only being safe if we're a loner? Can we clear that? And once that inner child says, well, okay, I'll try, they're often quite tentative, then I was able to do that theta healing, clear those old beliefs out, bring in new beliefs around attracting like-minded people, creating relationships, working with people, achieving dreams in the context of working with others. And ultimately, her life opened up in many ways. She was well on her way to developing a business with others, which was giving her great joy and a little financial success, and certainly creating partnerships at that level, and was beginning to date when I last spoke to her. So,
wow, that's fantastic. So for people who want to are listening to this and want to kind of understand more, is there like a DIY? Is there a few basic pieces that we can share with them that they can do at home? Of course, they can absolutely see you, Patti, the spiritual coach. I do as well, everyone.
Absolutely. Anyone, anywhere can work with me.
Okay, perfect. Is there any sort of telltale signs or just awarenesses that someone could have for themselves, or like, okay, I'm having a tantrum, maybe this is my inner child rearing its head or letting me know that it exists? Or is there something, just a couple signs before we sign off here that they can know for themselves that it's time to come into that relationship?
Well, one of the things I've always done when I get triggered and I can feel my emotional mind starting to go crazy is I put my hand on my heart and I say, there, it's okay, I'm here. And that's the adult Patti saying, I'm here for you. And I have a relationship with her and I can calm her down. And it's often in psychology, it's called reparenting, because in essence, me, the adult that's talking right now, becomes the loving, nurturing, patient parent that I didn't always have in my real childhood, that is able to connect with and nurture and make that inner child feel safe and respected. So often when we get angry and upset and we thwart what we're trying to do with our temper or our frustration, whatever, we get mad and we say, oh, I'm so stupid, I did that again, I can't believe it, what an idiot I am. And we're really calling our inner child names. And we all know that when someone calls us a name, we just dig in and we cooperate less. So it's about loving and nurturing and being patient with yourself and your inner child when you do stupid things, because we all do them. And change is a process. And you're not going to get it right and change the first time. And it's important to have this loving attitude that will enable cooperation between the child and the adult.
Wonderful. Thank you. Patti, thank you so much for being here for 2 shows. Let's give people your information once again if they want to learn more about themselves, the 3-mind theory of consciousness, and including the inner child.
Okay. They can reach me at thespiritualcoach@hotmail.com and spiritualcoaching.ca. That's my website.
Okay, terrific. All right, and we will have more information on Patti on both our Zeta Global Radio Deeper Dive into Consciousness. It's a private group, but you are welcome to join it, where we talk a little bit more about the topics that we share on the show, as well as our Facebook page. And we encourage everybody to become a subscriber on our Zeta Continuum YouTube channel. Thank you all for listening. We look forward to hearing feedback from you. If you've tried to, or you've dug into a little bit more of this work on your own, if you want more work to know about these topics, they're so very important. And Patti, again, we thank you so much for being here today, sharing your wonderful wisdom, and we wish everybody a wonderful week. Any last words from you, Patti?
Simply that it was a pleasure. I always enjoy sharing my passions. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. Signing off on our new ZGR Express. Blessings to all. Have a great week. We have a wonderful show next week. Stay tuned for more. Take care.